Okay, so Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel is the new MCU Disney Plus show that you can watch right now. The first episode premiered just this past Wednesday. Miss Marvel is based on the character of Kamala Khan. Kamala Khan is the superhero of Miss Marvel that you have here, who's played by Iman Vellani. Is how you pronounce her name. Here it's a young Pakistani girl who is obsessed with superheroes. She's a big fangirl for superheroes, basically like the actress in real life, because if you watch her in interviews and other stuff, she seems to be really a fan of this type of stuff. And I'm not a person who cares that much about like an actor being a big fan of the material they're paying, like whatever, it's a role, you get it, try to put your all into it. But she did
yeah, very much so. And with a character like Kamala, how she portrays her, I think that joy and that enthusiasm is very much infectious.
Yeah. And she gave an interview. She was saying like she was on the red carpet and she was like, I don't care what Kevin Feige says. This isn't Earth 616 in the MCU. This is Earth 199. I don't give a shit what.
I think that it's 616. It is 199999.
Yeah.
In which might want to be a little careful talking shit to the boss, but
yeah, you know what I mean. But people love that. I think people love that. People loved kind of a lot of the enthusiasm that she has for that. And then there's even a picture of her, even as Kamala Khan for Halloween.
Dressed as Kamala Khan for Halloween a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and everybody thought that she was the Flash.
Yeah. So I mean that was awesome. And then also she even has a letterbox review that people can see of when she reviewed Captain Marvel. I'll pull that up where she gave it 2 stars. She said, let me pull this up real quick. She said these 2 stars are not for Brie Larson. I will sacrifice my own life for Brie Larson. Which she even agrees. Hey, Captain Marvel's pretty mid, so yeah, I agree with her on that.
Okay. Internet, we know how y'all get whenever there's like a person of color actor in like comic book or geek stuff. You come after this girl, I will fight all of you.
I mean, she seems. I mean, I think that's one thing about this. It's very Spider-Man. I'd like a lot of people have compared it to Spider-Man: Homecoming, in terms of kind of the style and kind of look of it, and kind of humor that's kind of going on here with her. About this young girl in high school. Being kind of a fan of these heroes, much like Peter Parker was. You see, like he looked up to Iron Man. Here, she looks up to Captain Marvel, and then also I know there was kind of questions about. Why would she look up to Captain Marvel, and why do so many people know so much about the battle in Endgame? Well, you find out here that Scott Lang...
They dropped that Scott Lang was, like, doing podcast interviews about it.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like him, like everybody's got a podcast, so why wouldn't Scott Lang, of all people, have a podcast, and he'll be interviewing the other superheroes? You know what I mean? I would love to see like them do like a one shot of a podcast episode of Scott Lang like talking to one of the superheroes. I would actually kind of like to see that.
I would pay good money to see that, but very much like Michael Pena's recap of the MCU, we're probably not released to us at least.
Yeah. So I thought that's how most people in the world know about what all happened with the battle Endgame and everything like that. So. She is a big time fangirl of these heroes. Loves to dress up as heroes. Tells her parents all about it. You see in this first episode, the big thing here is she wants to go to this big convention where it's basically all these nerds kind of go there and dress up. It's like Comic-Con. It's Comic-Con. She wants to go to Comic-Con.
But it's AvengerCon, which a really nice note. They dropped that it's located at Camp Lehigh, which is where in the MCU's Captain America was trained and where he became... Captain America.
Oh yeah, that was a nice little Easter egg there. Which kind of the venue that she was kind of at when she went to the convention. Did it seem kind of small to you? Like she kind of went to like this a little bit kind of like.
It looks kind of like a military base. to me at least. But I think even though the Avengers are pretty much like superheroes, there's still a huge majority that are like, yeah, the Hulk used my car that I was 2 payments away from, and my insurance has not covered me. Fuck the Avengers.
I like kind of how they're touching on that a little bit too, with kind of the superheroes there. But I think the kind of thing is of it being kind of this teen kind of comedy, more in line. So I think it's more in line, maybe something with Hawkeye,
Yes.
kind of similarly, like more focused on comedy. But
Yeah.
Hawkeye was more of like a
Yeah.
action kind of diehard thing. This is not.
Yeah. Hawkeye was much more like a Die Hard, like a Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, very much a love letter to Shane Black. And I think this show, in terms of its style and its sense of humor, it's a love letter to like the early days of the Disney Channel. And I mean that as a compliment. I mean it's like a love letter to stuff like Even Stevens, like That's So Raven, like Sweet Life of Zack and Cody in terms of its comic sensibilities.
That's a very good comparison. I like that comparison. Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
something
and I
like
mean that as the purest of compliments.
yeah, because with those shows, I was a fan of those shows growing up. Even Stevens, That's So Raven, things like that. And it was, I think, to describe those shows, it was kind of cute, kind of funny. You know what I mean? And I think that's how I would describe this: very cute, kind of funny. You know what I mean? About this, high school girl daydreaming. You see, like, which I think is, that's also some comparisons gotten to Homecoming, where you see kind of this animation that's happening when she
Yeah,
daydreams.
but yeah, but in Homecoming, that animation was relegated just credits.
Yeah.
Here, it's all around you. It reminded me a lot of this is probably a hollow comparison, but a lot of Into the Spider-Verse. How there was always something going on in the background, even when you were dealing with your primary characters. Like this entire sequence where it's just her and best friend, who's played by Matt Lintz as Bruno, and how they're just biking along through their Jersey neighborhood, and you see everything that they're talking about just playing out in the graffiti in the background.
Yeah, I think that makes it more lively. It makes you kind of maybe more want to pay attention to the show. Seeing kind of this animation in the background, which is very nice. And what did you kind of think about the supporting cast of the show? I like how with the bully the kind of the bully girl that they have at the school, she's not psychotic.
But
You
even
know,
even the mean girl in this show is not on the level of like a Stephen King bully, or even the mean girl in Stranger Things, which we just talked about.
yeah,
She's just like a normal, like kind of uppity girl with a lot of Instagram followers.
yeah, she's just kind of
And
bitchy.
even that little interaction that she has with, I don't think she knows it's Kamala at that Avenger Con. It's genuinely sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did like that. Like you said, I was thinking about that of like how you see the contrast of bullies. You know what I mean? Well, I guess, Stranger Things, those were 80 bullies. I guess 80s bullies were more psychotic back then. I guess now they're more chilled out.
Stranger Things is like very much just a dying tribute to Stephen King, and he writes bullies psycho.
Yeah. So I did appreciate she wasn't like a complete psycho here, like the bully, like
Mhm.
you know what I mean. Like so, I kind of like that she was just kind of just a regular kind of mean, uppity, kind of bitchy girl. What do you think about her friend
Yeah,
Bruno?
but even then, she was actually kind of cool.
What do you think about the friend Bruno?
The friend Bruno, I love the chemistry between him and it
Mm,
feels a very very warm, very much like a warm blanket of these shows, and how yes, he is kind of indulging in, but I remember what it was like being in high school, having that one friend you could actually just like geek out over shit together.
yeah. I actually hope they don't get together because I like kind of the friend
Don't.
thing.
It's very much like Shang-Chi. A relationship like this is more interesting platonic friendship than anything. I
Yeah,
feel like if they force a romance, it'll just feel eh.
yeah. You know what I mean? I like I said, I
And,
bring up
and
Shang.
also and also and also Kamala Khan's parents are very much the depiction of like the overbearing immigrant parents, They probably aren't going to be down for him and her for Bruno and Kamala getting together.
Yeah. And their whole kind of friendship is very much like you see in superhero stuff. You got to have the guy in the chair trope, kind of with the superhero stuff. Like in Flash, you had it where he had Cisco. In Static Shock, he had his friend. And Kim Possible,
In
she had her friend.
Spider-Man, you had
Genki.
Ned.
Yeah, you had. Oh yeah, I mean, well, same character, Ned Genki, same character.
It's basically Genki, but it is Ned.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You had Ned. So you got to have the guy in the chair, you know what I mean, to help her out, to help her discover her powers and help her, figure some stuff out. The big thing about this is the power change. That's what a lot of people were complaining about coming into this. Now you haven't seen it in the first episode. What do you think about the power changes here?
I couldn't care less about the power change. I think I think I said it before with Mike. As long as you tell an engaging story, as I care about the character and like the character, I couldn't care less if you follow it one to one from the comic.
I haven't now seen it. I do, and in reading more about it, I do have a little bit of an issue because reading what the creator had to say about the power change, because the creator talked about it. I think the powers that she had the abilities to stretch, and kind of embiggen. And I think the creator was talking about, and they were saying how it kind of was really supposed to represent her feeling weird or gross and being that time, kind of developmental stage, you know what I mean, in a young woman's life. And kind of, it seemed like it was kind of supposed to represent that. And I think, so her kind of have these powers that kind of like these Green Lantern-esque powers, where she can kind of make these constructs, seems to kind of take away from that, you know what I mean, of her kind of feeling that way a little bit.
To an extent, but I don't think they lose that whole like allegory of puberty about like feeling weird
You said you
with the
said
power change.
you
You
said
know
that
what I
would have
mean?
been overdone. You said.
I, I wouldn't say overdone. I'm not looking at the show as what I want it to be. I don't look at the show as if you don't do it exactly like the comics, it's gonna. I look at it as it is, and for what they do with it, I don't think they lose that allegory of puberty that is very much in the comic of Kamala Khan.
Okay. Well, it'd be interesting to see how this further goes on, and then to see like how she's kind of using it, because it seems like her reaction to her powers is kind of just like, this is awesome, this is cool, because she puts on like these bracelets, and
I mean, in the moment, it's like, oh shit,
yeah,
because she basically destroys Avenger Khan.
yeah. Which if this was the boys, when that girl got hit by that Thor hammer, she'd have been splat.
That
Like,
bitch would have been dead.
yeah, that would have been splat if this was the boys. But
It would just been a pair of feet still on the floor.
yeah. And then
That was probably like a paper mache thing that somebody made. It
yeah,
was like really lightweight.
yeah, like her hit her and then swinging to the floor, because she was on that for a while. She was hanging on there for a while. Then she, yeah, I was like, I don't know. But yeah, kind of her using kind of the abilities, and you see a nod to her stretching abilities because she constructs like a big hand, that catches the girl before she falls. Yeah, I mean, I could see the issue definitely with the power change and kind of how it was supposed to represent it. Maybe if they were just saving it just for Reed Richards, it's like, well, you have other characters who have come in and had similar powers. You're doing a She-Hulk show, and Hulk is going to have the same, they're going to have similar powers. War Machine, Iron Man. You did a show Hawkeye with Kate Bishop. She's another archer. You did Black Widow, and you're just another big female super spy. So the idea, if that is truly why they did change it, because they were like, well, we don't want her to have the similar kind of powers. And to my knowledge, I don't think Kamala Khan even uses her powers in the same way Reed Richards does. The way she kind of uses. So, but yeah. What do you think about the family? Do you think the stuff you mentioned the immigrant family? Do you think it's too kind of stereotypical with the overbearing immigrant kind of family? Where you have like the domineering mom, which we've seen a lot of that recently.
I would say it is a little stereotypical. However, I also have a Filipino who was just as overbearing.
Okay, and then this has been the season of moms who are very, very overbearing.
This is the seasons of mom issues with young girls. It was like this turning red.
Everything, everywhere, all at
Uh,
once.
yeah, but unlike with those shows, where at least from the character's perspective, it was treated more as like the mom is really the villain of the show. With with Kamala Khan and Zenobia Shroff, who plays her, I thought it was all coming from an actual place of concern and just sticking to tradition. Because even with the brother, there's very clearly, which even in Islamic culture, there is very much a bias in male children, how much more freedom they have versus young women in that culture. And I like that it's being normalized in a depiction like this, and it's not being glamorized. I don't think they are very much leaning into that. Hey, this faith is a little bit fucked up in how misogynistic it is,
Yeah.
but it's not villainizing it, which I feel like was a huge thing in the early 2000s, especially after 9/11.
Mm. Yeah, and I think that's a tricky thing you have to play because you don't want it to be where you're demonizing the Muslim family, and their religion, but you don't want to
Hmm.
also gloss over like everything is peachy keen and everything's fine. There's no problems here. Then also you
Yeah,
also have to avoid the trope of the girl is being set free by being more a part of the Western culture. You know what I mean, and
mm,
and to leave her thing, and that's how she's more free is by doing that. You know
mm.
what I mean? So you got to kind of have to strike a good balance between those things.
Yeah, which I think just based on what I've seen so far this first episode, they danced that line perfectly, especially with the relationship with her father, who's played by Mohan Kapoor, who I I get the feeling that the dad is on her side, and I felt genuinely hurt whenever uh, the mom was trying to compromise and say, "Okay, you can go to AvengerCon, but you got to dress as the Hulk, and your dad is coming with, also dressed as the Hulk."
Yeah, that was
Which that was that was such a great comic scene, and I felt genuinely sad when just seeing how hurt he was. That you're embarrassing me. It's like
yeah.
you're not going.
Yeah, I mean that was a heartbreaking scene because it's like that dad was crushed. I mean, you can see that. I mean, that probably took a couple of hours for him to get on all that paint. That probably took a little bit. So I would be kind of pissed
I
too.
was like, oh,
They gotta wash off all this fucking green paint. But she
which
had told them multiple times who she likes, and they're gonna go with the Hulk. Like she had told them already. She can't
not
tell.
even the Hulk. It's just little Hulk.
Yeah, like there is no little Hulk. You know what I mean? Like it's like Jesus. It's like that's
Which there is now.
the perfect just parents just sometimes they just don't listen, and it's just like I thought that moment just encapsulated that perfectly. Um, yeah. What did you kind of think about the mid credits stinger here? With this?
The mid-credit singer, bringing back Arian Moayed from Succession and as that damage control agent from Spider-Man. I liked it. I feel like that's kind of like a natural antagonist for this kind of show.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Good thing I was watching some reviews of this because I did not know about that mid credit stinger. I had to go back and watch it because I was like, oh, there's a mid credit. Now they're putting stingers on first episodes now. Fucking great. I guess I got to just scroll through the credits and to maybe see something. I guess. But yeah, I mean, I think you said. I think who's doing damage control. Who seems because in the comics it was just kind of more of a joke book. But here in the MCU,
Yeah,
it's
damage control in the comics was basically just like that show set in the DC universe, like Superpower, that had Vanessa Hudgens, Danny Pudi, where that was basically just like the cleanup crew in the DC universe, and that was a failed comedy. And I thought that was very much damage control. And here they're very much like not to be fucked with.
Yeah, this seems like a real like government agency that can enforce authority. Lock people up. So yeah, it's interesting how they turn that more into a threat in the MCU. So I said, should stay really, really street level. You know what I mean? And
and,
small.
especially with an actor like Ariana Moayed from who the character he plays on Succession is so slimy and despicable, and I can't wait to see if he brings similar energy to the character in the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Do you think in this series we'll get a cameo from Captain Marvel or Monica Rambeau or?
I think if we do, it'll be at the very last episode or a post credit stinger, because they did set up the Marvel in one of the stingers in WandaVision with a Monica Rambeau meeting a Skrull, and I'm wondering if we get something similar here,
Okay. All right.
because they announced a while ago that both Teona Paris and Iman Vellani are both casted in the Marvels, which is directed by Nia DaCosta.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so this is setting up for her to be in that movie, just like how kind of WandaVision had Monica Rambeau in that, and then kind of setting her up, getting her powers to be in the Marvels as well. What did you think about her brother?
The brother, first off, hats off to you, man, because that beard is beautiful.
Yeah, it is an awesome looking beard. Yeah.
Yeah, and I like that he's not the stereotypical older brother where he's just like a shit heel and bully. He's on her side, and even he knows that the bias that he gets from their parents is a little bit fucked up.
How old is he? He's supposed to be like in his 20s, like mid 20s, late 20s?
I think he's supposed to be like in his early late 20s.
Okay. Yeah, because he's
because they talk
there.
about they talk about like they're getting ready for a wedding, which yeah, I guess it's like an arranged situation there.
Yeah. I think the perfect word to describe this show, this first episode, is cute. You know, it's a nice kind of little cute episode here. Ms. Marvel, something maybe light, you know, especially like you said, Disney Channel audience type stuff. You know what I mean? Watching kind of shows like that, which is not an insult. In terms, I think they had some quality shows. I don't know, maybe it's because I was younger watching them. I don't know, but I liked watching That So Raven. I liked watching Even Stevens and things like that. Before Shia LaBeouf, took them crazy pills. You know what I mean? I kind of liked watching stuff like that. So no insult at all by comparing it to one of those shows. And I hope the show works out for the lead actress. She seems to be a big fan of this and really loves this material, and so I hope it works out for her. So I think it was a solid first episode.
I loved this first episode, especially for somebody that has never acted professionally with him.
Yeah,
she brings so much energy and charm that watching her play Kamala Khan, it's infectious. I couldn't stop smiling watching this first episode.
Yeah, for her, it's like a dream come true. Kind of like how Tom Holland, when he first played Spider-Man, it was him. He dressed up as Spider-Man. Now you kind of see like he's kind of burnt out. Now he's like, okay, I kind of want to take a break from acting, maybe step back. Now he's kind of like, okay.
I'd argue he's more burnt out from fucking Uncharted.
Yeah,
I mean, this bullshit.
I guess just doing all those movies back to back to back like that, like I guess that can really drain on you. I guess and then working out for it, prepping for it, all that stuff. But hey, he got Zendaya, so fuck him. But yeah, that was Ms. Marvel, episode 1. All right, let me go look at the chat, see what they're saying. Chill's always saying something.
Man turned down Laura Harrier for Zendaya. You know what? Fuck you, man.
Was that really happening, or was that like a rumor?
No, there's like this, I think this like common clip online where it's like press for Spider-Man, and Laura Harrier's trying to like loop his arm, and then he just like finesses it around and just like, hey, where's Zendaya at?
Oh yeah, I did see that clip. Yeah, Lord, yeah. Well, wow, fucking guy. Man.
I was like, this fucker.
Yeah.
Here's Peter Parker, impeccable taste.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's like Peter Parker in real life, like Black Cat, Mary Jane. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like he's got all these.
It's like the comics are always like, Peter Parker. Meanwhile, he's got all of the baddies coming after him.
Yeah, I think that like Johnny Storm was talking to him, and he was like, "Man, I don't think your life is so bad, man. I mean, you got Mary Jane, and you got Gwen Stacy, and you got Black. You got these beautiful women
You
fighting
got
over you."
Felicia Hardy, you got Felicia Hardy, you got Ben, and all after.
Betty, y'all forgot about Betty Grant. It's like, wow, man. I don't think your life is that hard, man.
Man, fuck this dude.
Let me see what the
Goddamn
chat.
Liz Allen. You know
Uh,
what? Fuck Peter Parker.
let's see. It says she'll say here the Amazon dude got Zendaya number. I heard. I don't know. Maybe yeah, that'd be nice. Yeah, you heard about that? You saw that picture of Chris Smalls?
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, you took a picture with
Oh, yeah,
Zendaya.
the Amazon.
Tiona, oh beautiful ass. Yeah, Tiana Paris is very gorgeous. Yeah, Monica Webb.
It's like watching Candyman this past year.
Mm,
Her and Yaya are both too goddamn good looking. It's literally unfair.
yeah. I mean, yeah, and I forgot to mention DeWanda Wise in that. Seeing her, I was like, she was also stunning in that movie too, Jurassic World. She'll say,
Only I gave a shit about your character.
he said her, Shang-Chi, and Black Knight getting their powers due to family history. Okay, yeah, that is very true. Yeah,
Yeah.
Shang-Chi has powers. He also said her family will only accept Moon Knight to the dinner table. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They'll pretty much Layla is the only one that's invited to the
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
at the very least you'll get like like 8 Tupperwares full of food when you come to visit, which is for Asian immigrant families that's also very accurate.
Chill said that Comic Con was at a Walgreens. That shit was at a Walgreens. Said also that shit was at a Chuck E. Cheese.
I mean, they said it was the first one, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I heard Kevin Feige. He's talking about doing like a big Avenger Con or something. Like he's talking about making actual Avenger Con.
Isn't that just Comic Con?
Nah, I guess it's like fuck Comic Con. We want to have our own separate big event convention. Fuck Comic Con.
Isn't that just Disney Investor Day?
Yeah, I guess yeah. Disney where they announced 80 movies that they're doing. Yeah. But yeah, would you go to? I mean, would you go to Avenger Con?
Maybe.
Maybe. I think yeah. I think that's
Depending on how in shape I can get and how much I can fit back into my Spider-Man suit.
Is that what you're working out for? That's what you're prepping for? Is that the goal?
That is very much the goal. Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you got to keep up with Brendan Thwaites. You got to keep up with him, man.